Hey, Sean, do you know what? I think that our listener want real protection against cyber risk, and I know that HITrust is the leader in cybersecurity assurance. But what makes them the go-to choice?
Well, according to our friends at HITrust, because their framework covers 100% of the known tactics, techniques, and procedures, in 2024, organizations with a HITrust certification had just a 0.59% incident rate, meaning 99.41 stayed breach-free.
That's solid, but what about staying sharp over time?
HITrust's regular certification process isn't just a checkbox, it actually drives improvement. Repeat customers see up to 54% fewer corrective actions needed year over year. And now, with their new AI security assessment and certification, you can actually tackle AI risk with confidence as well.
Then check out the iTrust framework. Go to hitrustalliance.net to learn more. This is a special announcement. We are heading to RSA Conference in San Francisco for our 11th years of coverage, April 28, May 1st.
And as always, we're bringing you keynotes, conversations with organizers, speakers, industry leaders, plus the latest insights from the world of cybersecurity.
And we'll reconnect with old friends, meet new ones, and of course, we want you and your company to join us.
We have a few spots left for full sponsorship and our on-location briefings. You can book yours now at itspmagazine.com/RSAC.
We're going.
And you're coming with us. And here we are. We're in San Francisco. We're not in Toronto. You made it to San Francisco, RSAC Conference. How's it been so far?
It's been amazing.
Yeah?
Very busy time, as always,
I know.
San Francisco.
40 plus thousand of our closest friends.
Oh, yes.
And Dmitry, it's a pleasure to meet you. First time to connect in person.
Pleasure is mine.
Yes, thanks for being here. And Helen Oakley, good to have you on again. It's
Yeah.
always a pleasure.
It's been a little bit.
It's been, what was it, October?
Yeah.
At Sector, I think was the last time we had a chat. But you've been busy, as have
Definitely.
you, Dmitry, working on some new
We're
things.
all busy.
So we're going to talk about some of that, and obviously some of the things that you've been discussing broader speaking at the conference here. For those who don't know you, maybe a few words about what you're up to, maybe some of the organizations you're part of, some of the speaking circuit that your journeys around the world, sharing what you're working on. Helen, we'll start with you. Folks may have seen you on the show before, but let's give them a little refresher.
Yeah, I'm a senior director at SAP on product security team, and we engage in different initiatives, and we establish security across SAP software. But outside of SAP, for fun,
Yes.
Yes, I do a lot of contributions on different organizations like OVASP, Agentic AI Threats and Mitigations. I co-lead with Dmitry as well the AISBOM initiative under CISA SBOM. Working groups, target teams, and of course we also have some other initiatives going on that we are working on, like AI integrity and safe use foundation, and also building some useful tools.
Yes, we'll touch on one of the tools at least. Dmitry, what are you up to?
So most of my day been spent at being a co-founder and CTO at a company called Cybeats. Cybeats is a company that builds a platform to manage SBOMs and provide software supply chain security.
So the broader SBOM.
The broader SBOM, the big word.
Yes.
Just this morning, we heard from the government that SBOM is becoming more and more important. And I'm working with a lot of customers in the Fortune 500 area, and we're talking about these bombs or X-bombs.
Right.
I hear things like, hey, if you're not going to give me an SBOM, I'm not going to buy a product X from you.
We are hearing that already.
Yeah.
Okay. I was wondering if we'd get to that point where there'd be a requirement.
At some point, yes, because the UCRA is coming up, right, and that will be a requirement.
Yeah. We didn't touch on that yet together. I think I had somebody else on for the CRA, but sounds like you might be on the show again, because we're not going to touch on that today. We only have 20 minutes. But so let's who wants to, maybe Dmitry, you start the big state of the union, if you will, for SBOM. maybe an overview from that, and then maybe a deeper dive into the AI space there. And I don't know if agentic AI is a part of that, and I don't know, we'll have to talk. So maybe kind of the big picture first, and then we'll get into the AI.
The big
Spell out SBOM for folks.
Yeah, of course.
So we're not just using acronyms here for the first round.
So definitely SBOM stands for Software Bill of Materials, and I would say that that's one of the hottest areas now in the space of supply chain security, going to a lot of regulations and required by many organizations to achieve transparency. Basically, people want to know what they buy and what's inside the black box. And it's quite simple concept because we are get used to it from buying products at the grocery shop. If you look at any product of this pasta package, right, we can turn it around and see that's the ingredients. There's 5 ingredients, right, and they all listed there. Why we're not doing it about software or devices that's running software in them when we procure these devices.
Yeah.
So that's
how important is it that we don't not just know what's in it, but also where it's from? Because I can think of, obviously we have products at the store we can buy. When you go to restaurants, sometimes they actually present as a value that you know where the cheese is sourced from, and the meat is sourced from, and the wheat or the whatever the vegetables are sourced from. How important is the where in what we're talking about here?
well, this year it became more important because of tariffs, but let's not get to that point.
Maybe little triggers, we won't go down there, yeah.
But it's quite important because people are looking at not just where the product coming from, but also when you're building the product and you making the design and you making the thinking of what goes into your product ingredients and components. They want you to think, okay, who's contributing to these open sources? Because if you're looking at the statistics, between 70 to 90% of any software-based product is open source. Mm-hmm. And this open source could come from different places. I mean, we recently have seen the almost successful attempt of injecting a malicious, I would say, code into XZ library that's been used by every single Linux operating system across the world. And luckily it was averted, but
I didn't want to go there, but I'm going to do it anyway. We're not talking politics here. But sometimes there are things that drive action more than morals and ethics, and money is often one of those drivers. Is there an opportunity perhaps to actually get a solid SBOM infrastructure in place purely because companies need to know where stuff's coming from and if it's going to cost them more or less? Is there an option to use that lever, do you think?
I think that this lever exists, and what we are seeing among our customers is that when they're adopting the SBOMs, it's not just because they have to do that. They finding out that there is a lot of ROI that comes
beyond the security,
beyond the hey, I'm compliant, I have SBOMs, right? Okay. I mean, one example from one of our customers is they have saved hundreds of hours per every open source project that they're running just by adopting SBOMs and then using platform that can handle these SBOMs, monitor them continuously, and also provide them alerts about new risks, vulnerabilities, etc.
So how are things similar or different when we start talking about AI and maybe also the agentic AI? Because I mean, there's a lot of open source, there's a lot of custom built stuff. I mean, paint that picture for us, huh?
Yeah, so we're looking at also dependencies, but it's a different type of dependencies. In traditional software dependencies, we have open source. In AI, we also have open source type of frameworks, and we have underlying architectures, and we have data sets. So it's becoming a whole different paradigm in addition to traditional software. And that's why we're calling AISBOM, also known as AISBOMs, Artificial Intelligence Software Bill of Materials, to make sure that we collect, in addition to traditional software, those AI-relevant metadata that we collect about models, about data sets, and all the ecosystem there.
Yeah, because it'd be easy to forget that the model, I guess different versions of the model, right? And also, is part of that the data it was trained on, perhaps? Not just what it's actually being used in production? I don't, is that part of the picture?
Information about training is part of artificial intelligence bill of materials, definitely.
Okay.
And even information about energy consumption. Yeah, so we have a lot of opportunities to collect different types of data. And you mentioned agentic AI, of course, because agents, so they use LLMs and models in the background. So it will have also AISBOMs or AISBOMs as part of the whole transparency.
Okay. And forgive me if I didn't hear it, but dropping the S from the AISBOM is what? Because of the hardware piece of stuff that's running this, or what's the purpose of that?
No, it's a good question because traditionally, if you look at standards, SPDX and Cyclone DX, traditionally we call them AI bomb or ML bomb, similar to H bomb, right? So C bomb, like a use cases of an S bomb. But the thing is, it becomes very confusing to a certain extent because people start thinking that this is a different thing from the SBOM, but it's not. And this is why we did a little rebranding in the beginning of this year to make it obvious. So we're working on this use case document for AI SBOM, and we want to make sure that industry and different types of roles across industry understand the language, and the language is consistent.
Right. Got it. All right, so you have a language, it's consistent, you need to have the conversation, right? And the tools to actually enact and do something with the understanding that you have and the conversation you have. So you presented here at RSAC Conference, and you also presented, as part of your presentation, I believe you announced a new tool, the open source tool that you guys put together, right?
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about the session and how the tool is part of that.
Yeah, so yesterday we ran our third AI SBOM workshop, second at RSA, third. So a year ago we ran the first one, and this is where we initiated the effort to write use cases of AI SBOM. We almost done the document that will be released out of CISA documentation. So it's just going through final reviews and, you know, just maybe a little bit time for publication, but it's coming out there for general use. And as part of the exciting news, so this is really first on the market open source tool that can generate SBOM in Cyclone DX format for model on Hugging Face. So if you step back a little bit, why is it so important? Because there's a lot of complexity in generating this kind of format. It requires different tools and different environments collecting this metadata. And generally, it should be developed together with the model and provided by the providers of the model. But because we have, you know, like Alan Friedman yesterday said, we are building the plane as we're flying it.
Right.
Yeah, and it's exactly what is happening right now. We are building all these AI systems, and we're trying to also engage in different initiatives to make sure that we build security from the start. And this is where we also need to provide the tool for industry to help generate. And a lot of organizations are using models from Hugging Face. So if we have that tool already generating this format for them, then they will be able to really improve their transparency, already use it. Because that's majority chunk of usage.
Visibility and transparency builds trust, hopefully.
Yeah, do you have something to add, perhaps?
Well, I can say that since we kicked off this work stream as part of the CISA Tiger teams and worked on the AISBOMs, I'm continuously bombarded by people on LinkedIn or people who meet me and saying, hey, we know how to generate SBOMs for our software, we do it already, and really like whoever it was important for them to generate this SBOM, they already have done it, they either bought some solution or took some open source. But how do we create AI SBOMs? Like, what's the way? How we structure them? What kind of fields? And these fields are already defined, right? I mean, so the standards, the two standards we are following today, which are SPDX and Cyclone DX, they already have the support. But there was nothing there out there to create these SBOMs for these AI components. And we decided to pick up on that effort, and that's the result.
Yep. What was some of the feedback from the session?
Honestly, I'm overwhelmed. Like even yesterday,
I see a ton of posts already.
and
on
today,
social media.
people just meeting on the expo floor and just
Right.
congratulating and saying like it's really useful. They've been waiting for something like that. So I'm really happy to hear that, because our goal is to really contribute back to community
Right.
and provide this tool to help organizations in transparency.
Right. That's why I appreciate you so much. You do a lot. I'm just meeting you, but it sounds like you're very involved as well, and giving back to the communities. Super cool. So that's why I love having you both on. But you're also speaking on, is it Wednesday? Tomorrow, Wednesday. No, right?
Yes.
Yes.
The days are flying by. So
So tell us a little bit about that session. This will be released after you talk, so we're not giving
Yeah.
away any secrets, but what are we talking about there?
there is no secret. We already released a paper, a
Okay, there you
guideline
go.
out of OWASP Gen AI project, which is already known for top 10 LLMs.
Yes.
Yeah. So out of that, we released a very specific guide for threats and mitigations of agentic AI. So several extinguished experts have written that with the community effort, collaboration and reviews and contributions. In February, the first version was released. We are already working on updating and planning for the next update with more information. And there are different work streams that working on pieces of vulnerable code examples as well for agents, how to implement agents in a secure manner. So supply chain, of course, is one of the topics that we're also going to incorporate. Tomorrow at the session, there is AI Summit, OWASP AI Summit.
Right.
And people will
I had
join
every
us.
intention
and
to go. It didn't
Yeah.
work out timing-wise, but yeah, it's going to be a good.
Yeah, and
Good
we
group
will
of
run
folks.
some sessions already about what we're planning to do. We're actually going to do a small mini threat modeling of MCP, Model Context Protocol. I'm sure you heard about that one, based on our agentic AI threats and
Yes.
mitigation. So that's going to be fun.
A lot of activity. Let's we have a couple minutes here. I want to. So a lot of obviously people watching this are connected to RSAC Conference. They're want to see what's going on here. We're hopefully bringing some news with this. But my audience specifically are security leaders, CISOs, CSOs, some CIOs and CTOs as well, who clearly have a hand in building products, building infrastructure, getting the business to run, hopefully doing it safely. Any words of advice to them, given the tool you've released, the work you've done for SBOMs and AISBOMs? Maybe something to share with them to kind of help them wrap their head around what's going on here.
Let's start with you.
Of course, so one of my advices would be when you are up to adopting something like SBOMs, AI bombs, CBOMs, which is cryptography, HBOMs, which is hardware, right? And whatever bombs will come together with that.
Sushi bombs, I heard earlier.
Yeah, sushi bombs.
Yes, I'm always about the food, so.
Absolutely. I think one of the things that I always advise to look at is that internal benefits and internal value that these companies will get from this transparency that is not only intended to be reflected out to their customers, but first they're becoming transparent to themselves. They're now aware of the things. They can recognize suddenly out of all of this noise where are their crown jewels, and then they can recognize what are the low-hanging fruits
Right.
that they need to address. And that's amazing. Once we learn these things, we can act on them.
Yeah, it could be easy to get overwhelmed and not start, right? Yeah. Helen?
And AI, AI agents, agentic AI, and general AI amplifying risks that we already have, right? somehow we're forgetting the fundamental implementation controls, like authorizations or so. And then on top of that, we have additional autonomy of the system. So things like transparency, AISBOM will definitely provide visibility into those risks from underlying dependencies. Yeah? There are a lot of examples where there is remote code execution is embedded as a feature. Yeah,
right.
And things like that we need to be aware, and as leaders, right? And of course, have risk assessment of all the AI components that you do and that you adopt in your organization. It's very important to have that.
Yeah.
And by the way, since I have you here, I have a gift for you.
Is it a new one?
Yeah.
Ooh, look at that.
It's an AISBOM sticker.
Oh, the AI
and
bomb.
You can find.
I have the other one. I stole from Sector. I carry that around. So thank you for that. Love it. So if you don't start, you won't know. And if you don't know, you can't take action.
Yeah.
Simple as that. Simple as that. Best practices, start small. Helen, Dmitry, thank you both. Keep doing the good work for the community. Thanks for sharing the tool with everybody. Thanks for sharing this time with me. Thanks everybody for joining us here at RSAC Conference. Lots more coming to you over the next few days. itsbmagazine.com/RSAC25. Stay tuned, subscribe, share with your friends and enemies. We'll see you soon.
Hey Sean, do you know what? I think that our listener want real protection against cyber risk, and I know that HITRUST is the leader in cybersecurity assurance. But what makes them the go-to choice?
Well, according to our friends at HITRUST, because their framework covers 100% of the known tactics, techniques, and procedures, in 2024, organizations with a HITRUST certification had just a 0.59% incident rate, meaning 99.41 stayed breach-free.
That's solid, but what about staying sharp over time?
HITRUST's regular certification process isn't just a checkbox, it actually drives improvement. Repeat customers see up to 54% fewer corrective actions needed year over year. And now with their new AI security assessment and certification, you can actually tackle AI risk with confidence as well.
Then check out the HITRUST framework. Go to hitrustalliance.net to learn more. This is a special announcement. We are heading to RSA Conference in San Francisco for our 11th years of coverage, April 28, May 1st.
And as always, we'll bring you keynotes, conversations with organizers, speakers, industry leaders, plus the latest insights from the world of cybersecurity.
And we'll reconnect with old friends, meet new ones, and of course, we want you and your company to join us.
We have a few spots left for full sponsorship and our on-location briefings. You can book yours now at itsbmagazine.com/RSAC.
We're going.
And you're coming with us.